Hey everybody, it's Jason with the Board Game Mechanics, and today we're going to take a look at a game called Sail. Sail is a game published by Allplay, formerly known as BoardGameTables.com, designed by, and I'm going to say these names incorrectly, I do apologize if these are you, I'm sorry, Akiyama Koryo and Kozu Yusei. I'm terrible, I'm sorry. And the best part about this game, and the reason that I backed it, which we'll get to later, art by Wieberson Santiago. Game is a 2-player only game. Plays 20 minutes, ages 11 plus. In this game, I don't even know if there is theme. Is there theme? Let's see. No theme. But what you're doing is you are taking on the role of this awesome ship. And we'll get back to these components later. And you're trying to make it from the starting line to your destination while avoiding the Kraken, effectively. The Kraken is trying to kill your ship. You're trying to defeat the Kraken and make it on your journey to win. Okay? That's the gist. Effectively, it's a trick-taking game, but you can't talk once you start playing tricks. So you can plan beforehand, but once you start playing cards, communication stops. So you got to kind of figure out what your opponent's wanting to do, what you're trying to do, based on what they're doing and all that kind of stuff, so you can move your ship to the destination. Seems easy, but it is harder than you may think. So normally there'd be a playthrough here, but I've been putting those in a separate video. If you'd like to see how the game works, how it plays, some of the fundamentals of it, click on that video description link and you can go there. Otherwise, we're going to take a look at the components. All right, so components are the whole reason basically that I backed this game. Now, I'm not normally a component snob, one of those people, but I love the art of Wieberson Santiago. Bloody Inn, fantastic. Whirling Witchcraft, fantastic. Those are two, just to name a few. I saw this box cover when it came out on Kickstarter. Immediately knew it was Wieberson. Like you can tell, it looks just like his art. I love his art. I had some of his art as a screensaver on my phone. Love it. This is a fantastic box cover. There's not a box cover, in my opinion, that I've seen that's better than this. This is great. So this is Wieberson art. This is some Wieberson art. Gorgeous. You can see a little bit better on the back without the track getting in the way. Fantastic. The characters are great. These are just the two that I was playing with in the overview. If you didn't watch that, these are great characters. The cool thing about these cards, which we'll get into some of that, it has text, which I'm a big fan of. I like text. But if you don't want that, you can have symbology. So language independence if you're into that. This board here, more Wieberson art. Can't really see it that well, but there's the box cover on the back. Love that. The cards are really neat too. They have some cool boat art, different color boats for the different color suits. And also, there's 3 weird colors. So these are the 3 suit colors. They're a little strange, but they are colorblind friendly. They have banners that have different patterns on them. So these are the 3 different suits. I don't know how well these are coming through, but you can see the banners have a different shape at the bottom to kind of help you identify which suit it is. They're different enough when you're looking at them if you don't have colorblind issues, but the banner is nice because in bad lighting, these two kind of look the same a little bit. So just keep that in mind. The banners do help. I love the board. The board is really cool. It goes together like puzzle pieces. Well, sort of, but it just goes together like this. It has an extra piece than what I showed you in the overview if you watch that, but makes it easier to fit into the boxes. It's that small, the small Allplay box that they've been doing. So you got that. Now, the version that I played, we'll talk about the rule book first. There's a scenario book that gives you 5 different scenarios and a beginning scenario. It just tells you where stuff goes on the board. It basically makes the board longer. The last scenario is the longest board. And then the normal Allplay rule book, it's like 4 pages. front and back. First page is components. So all that. I wish these were a little bit thicker and a little more clear, but once you play the game, you don't really need it that much, because these cards here are fantastic and really help with everything you need. I also have an expansion. It's called Seafarers, I think, but it gives you some extra pirates. It gives you some ally ships, some crow's nest, and some whirlpools. It's just more interaction on the board to help you change cards with your opponent, maybe move some pieces around, all that kind of stuff, but mostly more characters. That's cool. So you can probably just shuffle that in and just do it, and no big deal. But what I showed you is the deluxe components. Normally, these Krakens are tiles like this, little diamond tiles like the start. But look at this Kraken tile. That is freaking fantastic. And these island tiles are just more cardboard tokens. Same with these. These are just black clouds in the boring original version. But look at those fantastic clouds. This is the trick taking. Whenever you win a trick, you move this. That's a yellow cube. I love cubes. I'm not knocking the cubes, but this is way cooler. And this pirate marker, the round marker, is just a disc. The pirate marker is way cooler. So upgraded components are nice. Again, they're not a must-have, but it does really pop on the board when you can see these things sticking out. You know where you're going. You know what you're going to run into. I think if you're looking at the board with the 3D element, it makes it a little bit easier to play. So those are the components. They get 2, 3, 4 thumbs up just for the Weaverson artwork alone. I know I've said a lot of that, but All Play Always does fantastic production, so there's no issues on the production. The artwork is really what drew me in and what makes me want to play this game over and over and over and over. I love it so much. Weaverson is great, and he gets like a 20 out of 10 for me. So that's the components in the art. Let's move on to final thoughts. All right, so this is a trick-taking game. Now, I love trick-taking games. We live in Ohio. We play a ton of trick-taking games. We've covered a lot of them on our channel. But this one's a little bit different. So in this one, you have limited communication when you're playing cards, which means, you know, I got to figure out, if you play a 6 blue, what are you trying to tell me with that 6 blue? If you're playing a 1 blue, what are you trying to tell me there? Do you want me to play a cannon? If I play a cannon in green, what am I trying to tell you there? So you're trying to figure out what every card that I keep saying opponent, your teammate is playing means and what they're wanting you to do. So passing that card at the beginning of the round could be super helpful. It could say, hey, I have this 1 gray card. I'm passing it to you. Now I don't have any more gray cards. So maybe I have a mermaid in another color. Or you have the gray mermaid and I don't have any more gray cards. You play the gray mermaid, I play my mermaid. Boom, we can do the forward movement. So it's got some kind of like meta game, some communication elements that you may have to take a couple games to figure out. But before you start playing cards, you can kind of talk through it like, hey, if I give you this, you know, that might mean this. Or, you know, if I play a cannon, I probably want you to play your tentacle so we can kill it, put it back in the Kraken deck. Or, you know, so you can kind of talk through some of the strategy, get a lot of it out of the way maybe before you start playing, because when you start playing, zip. So that, I don't love the limited communication stuff that does that in the crew. I don't love that. I usually just break those rules because I don't like it. But in this one, it's not as bad because the rounds are super quick. In the crew, it's punishing, but this one, you can communicate enough outside of the 5 playing card rounds that it's not that big a deal. So I just wanted to mention that because some people aren't into that. So if you're expecting a normal trick-taking game where you can communicate and all that, no, none of that. But this is a great game. It's super fun. All the scenarios, they kind of feel the same, honestly. They're just longer. So if you play scenario 5 in the base game, not the Seafarers one, it's just longer. So you got to work harder to get past that first set of clouds by the beginning of round 3, I think it is, or whatever. Yeah, by the beginning of round 3. And you got to just work a little bit harder to do everything. So taking a trick is a way more important to make sure the ship is moving in the correct direction when you're playing one of those longer scenarios. I would definitely recommend the intro scenario, which is super short, but you can figure out how the game plays, how the movement works, all the combinations before you start tackling the actual scenarios. The expansion, if you want, they don't add a ton. So honestly, you can just add that right in from the get-go It's just a couple extra rules, not that big a deal. So if you're looking for more stuff, more ways to pass cards to opponents, ways to shuffle stuff around the board, throw that in. It's not going to change the game a ton. It's not overly complicated. This is it. That's it. So if you have the expansion, cool. If not, it's still a great game. It's still fun. I probably like it more just because of the Weaverson artwork. Again, we're going back to that. But honestly, it's a fun game. I've seen some people say that you can do like card counting and look through all the decks. That's not fun. I'm not even looking through the decks. I'm just strictly playing what's in my hand and just going from that. It makes the game a little bit more challenging because if you don't know what's out there, you don't know what everybody else has, you can kind of, play the game, I think, as it was intended. That's my guess. That's what I'm guessing. I don't know the designers, no idea. But my guess is they probably don't want you digging through all the piles to see what all's going on because that takes away from the fun. So just play the cards that are in your hand, have fun, see what happens. It's a game. If you fail, start it over and play again. That's it. So I'm going to give this a BGM accepted seal. This is going to get an 8 out of 10, 20 out of 10 for artwork, but an 8 out of 10 on gameplay on BGG, which is a 4 out of 5 wrenches on an arbitrary wrench scale. That means absolutely nothing, but we like to give the games that we enjoy, and that's what I'm going to do. So that is Sail from All Play. I'm Jason with the Board Game Mechanics, and as always, keep gaming.